this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. I woke up this morning with my mind.
Hello, hey everybody. Joey Sparks here. This is your reminder that God's mercies are new once again this morning. You will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the end of the earth. Those are Jesus' words to his apostles, Acts chapter 1. It's helpful that as we read the book of Acts, we understand it's happening as a narrative and it's happening chronologically. What happens when we put those narrative events on a chronological timeline, also in a geographic map, is that we begin to see the spread of the gospel. And Acts chapter 1 and verse 8 is such a great anchor point for doing that. You'll remember Acts chapter 2 is when the gospel was first preached, and the church begins, and then it multiplies. All that's happening in Jerusalem. And you keep reading, and you find conflict, you find twists and turns, and all the way through the end of chapter 7, the gospel and the Christians are there in Jerusalem. At the end of Acts chapter 7, Stephen preaches the gospel to those Jews who are against him already, and they turn against him even more by killing him. That begins a significant era because now the Jews have intensified their persecution against Christians more than ever. They're killing these Christians in Jerusalem. What's going to happen? You see that persecution explained a little bit in the opening verses of chapter 8. And then you see how the Christians respond. Is this the end? Is this a moment when the church and the gospel will slow down? What about 8 verse 4? Now those who were scattered went about preaching the word. That single statement of Acts 8 verse 4 communicates a lot for us today. Number one, it tells us and reminds us that for the true disciple, for the true Christian, persecution is not a deterrent. In fact, more often than not, it is a means of increasing our devotion. Number two, it shows us how the gospel spreads from Jerusalem. How it goes from Jerusalem into Judea into Samaria, and then on to the end of the earth. It's challenging for us in the 21st century. We live in an era with more technological development than ever before, more comforts, more freedoms from a political standpoint, more protections than ever before from a political standpoint. Are we spreading and preaching the word with as much devotion as those who were limited in those means? It's challenging. If we're going to follow the pattern of the first century church, that means we must keep going, keep preaching, keep spreading. How do we apply 8 verse 4, though, in this current season? We're scattered, right? But not scattered abroad or scattered away from each other. We're not scattered around the world. We're scattered back into our homes more often than not right now. We're not together in central areas as much as we would ordinarily be, so we're scattered into our homes. What does this verse look like in our homes? First of all, we preach wherever we're at. We're scattered to our homes, and we're preaching the word with devotion and intentionality within our homes. What if our children look back at this era in 5, 10, 20 years? They're adults themselves. They've got their own families, and they say, that was the time. That was the time my parents got it together within the walls of our home. That was the time when I learned more about God and about the Bible than I ever had before. And they look back on this weird season and say, that's what caused it to click. What if? Number two, what if we take this technology that's at our fingertips and instead of only using it to consume, watch videos and watch TV, watch movies, consume social media feeds, what if we flip the script and we reach out with that technology? We reach out to fellow church members to encourage and tell them I love you and tell them I'm thankful for you. Or if we use this technology to reach out to those who do not know the Lord and we communicate the gospel, we preach the gospel. We're scattered within, but we are not limited by technology, so we use those tools to teach the gospel. What if? What if while we're scattered, we go about preaching the word? We thank you for watching. It's our prayer that God's timeless word will be your meditation all day today.
I woke up this morning